It's Grillin' with Dillon today on Let's Cook.
So, the second life for Let's Cook on YouTube is very important to myself, my brother, and my sister. It's something my dad always wanted to do, and as he got ill, it just never ended up happening. He kind of started working on it with a couple of people a few times, but it never came to fruition. So, it's kind of for selfish reasons. I want to be able to do this as a tribute to him, but then also the opportunity to see the show because, as I mentioned, I really a ton of these episodes I've never watched at all.
I mean, for me personally, it carries on his legacy. He impacted so many people.
These videos, there's no place you can visit them. They were through a local, cable station, and they disappeared. So this way he can live on forever.
Hi, welcome to Let's Cook. Now today on Let's Cook, we are grilling. And you can't grill indoors, so I think what we have to do is we have to go outdoors. So please just follow me out. Hi, welcome to my grill setup. Look at this fabulous grill. I have to thank the Fretz Corporation for lending me this grill to use outdoors. It is absolutely out of this world, and it was new out of the box. So, John, thank you so much. And Steve Horn, thank you from the Fretz Kitchen for getting in touch with John and helping me get this grill. Now it's time to grill. The first thing we're going to do is it's a saffron and red bean rice. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flavor it with a little bit of red onion here. So we'll just take the onion. All we're going to do is dice up the onion here a little bit. And then we're going to saute this onion in a little bit of olive oil with some saffron. Now, saffron itself is it's the stamen of the crocus plant. And it's red in color, but it produces a yellow rice. It's out of this world. I'm going to bring some into frame right now because I have some right here. But this is what it looks like. And it produces a very unique flavor. And these are actually hand-picked and they're dried. And there's two ways that you can get the color out on this. One way you can get the color out on this is you can just take it as if you're making tea and you can just leach the color out in a warm liquid here, or you can saute it in oil with the aromatics and bring out the flavor and the color that way too. I'm going to do it the way I like to do it, which means I like to sweat it with the onions and bring that out a little bit. So I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in here. We're going to start with our onions in here just to saute them, cook off a little bit of the sulfur that's in them. Going to add a little bit of our saffron here. Let that cook in with the onions just a little bit. And you already can see in the pan here, a little bit of the color is already starting to come out. Now we'll add our rice to this. And we're just going to cook this and let this sweat just a little bit. Cook that rice on all sides. That way it's going to absorb the liquid evenly. At this point in time, I would also put just a little bit of salt in here, just to kind of impart a little salt flavor into the rice. Get that going. Now, if we're in the pan here, let's go into the pan here, and you can see the threads in there. Now watch what happens when I add a little bit of liquid to this. Same thing's going to happen where you're going to start the color start to leach out into the rice. See how it's starting to turn yellow, and it's going to produce a delicious yellow rice that we're going to finish with some beans. Ratio of rice to liquid is 2-to-1. So we're going to bring this up to simmer, stir once, then cover it. And then when it's done cooking, we'll add the beans to it. Now we need to talk about our seafood. Now, I have this beautiful platter here of seafood that I'm going to use to make kebabs. It's very simple. The ingredients that I'm going to use, and we're going to bring up a board. We'll show you the ingredients. You don't even have to remember it, but it's just swordfish, tuna, and shrimp. And look how beautiful this looks right here. I have it all set up on a platter, and we're going to take this. I'm going to cut up the tuna, clean up the swordfish. The shrimp are already peeled and deveined. So let's look at our swordfish first. When we go to clean up the swordfish, first we have to remove the skin here from the side. The easiest way, hold it on the side here. Just take your knife, and I'll cut it so that I stay about 1/8 of an inch off the skin there, because this is somewhat fatty here. Need to get rid of that. So we'll take that off. Then right here, because it's a non-bony fish, right here is where it was we're going to get rid of that too, because that's extremely fishy. So we'll just get rid of that too. Most of that, get rid of that. Now, when we cut this, we need to make sure that we cut this so that when we skewer it, we're going across the grain. The grain is going this way. We need to make sure we go in that way and go across the grain of this. So I'll just take this, cut this down this way. I'm going to leave this nice and full this way. Beautiful. We'll just cut them down, about this size. We're going to make them big. So that's good there. This one's good here. Now the same with the swordfish. The tuna that I have right here. I'm going to cut this right here, then cut it across here. I'll give them 2 tuna, 2 swordfish, and 2 shrimp on each one. Now, for the marinade for this, we're going to keep that equally simple. We're cooking outdoors. We're going to use a little sweet soy sauce here. A little bit of honey, just a little bit. I love this honey pitcher because you can take the honey pitcher and you take it and you just cut it off and you don't get the honey dripping. A little bit of pepper, no salt because of the soy sauce, and just a splash of water. All we're going to do with this now is just mix this together, let this marinate for, about 5 minutes. Then when we skewer this, I have to show you these skewers. These are so neat. Look at this. It's almost like I could find water with these. But the nice thing about these is that whatever you're going to skewer doesn't turn, because you go through with both of them all the way through, and this way it won't turn. It stays nice and stable. If you also want to do something straight like this, you can do this like this. I'm going to go ahead and get some more of these kebabs made. We're going to take a little break. Then when we come back, we're going to grill up these kebabs and finish them with the rice, and also have a little bit of grilled pineapple we're going to serve with this as well. Don't go anywhere. It's Grillin' with Dillon today, and let's cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome to Grillin' with Dillon today. The pineapple, the symbol of hospitality. This grilled pineapple is going to go great with these kebabs that I have going right over here, these wonderful seafood kebabs, and I'm going to show you how to get those going too. But first we're going to grill the pineapple, because a pineapple will take just about as long as the kebabs. Take off the end here, take off your bottom here, stand it up. We're just going to take and slice it down this way now, making sure that we remove any of the outside skin. Just go down nice and smooth with your knife this way, getting rid of this. Now, to grill this, a couple of different ways I could cut it. One way I could cut it is I could just take it like this, then bring it down here this way, then cut it down on an angle this way, removing that core, because the core doesn't really taste that good. Then just cut it down. I think I'll just do it this way. This looks good. So I'm going to get these pineapples on, and I'm also going to get my kebabs on. Now, the kebabs I showed you at the beginning of the segment, I need to make sure that they're ready and they don't stick to my grill. A couple of things I've done. One, I took a side towel right here, and what I did with the side towel is I tied it with butcher's twine, and I rolled it nice and tight. And this way, when I go to clean my grill, I can take this and just run it up and down on my grill without it catching fire, and it picks up any of the dirt that's on the grill. Secondly, I'm going to take my kebabs that I marinated in the honey, a little bit of soy, pepper, and I'm going to brush them with a combination of butter and oil that I've just melted. The side that I brushed with will be the side that goes down onto the grill. Then I'm also going to take and put a little bit on this right now too, once I get it on the grill. I'll do the same thing with the pineapple, where I'll just take the pineapple, I'll hit it with a little bit of butter before I put it on the grill. That's butter and oil combination. It's going to work real well in aiding in the caramelization and the flavor that's going to go into the pineapple. Now we need to come over here to our rice. Remember, we have the saffron rice going right here. See how the rice is beautifully colored? Now all we add to this is a little bit of some canned red beans. And we're just going to fold these in, let these heat up. Doesn't that look great? So my rice is good to go. All I have to do with those is cover them, let those beans warm up a little bit. Now I'm gonna go ahead and plate this. I'm gonna take our bowl here, take our rice right here, put our rice right in the middle here. Doesn't that look good? Yeah, a little bit more. And the colors on this are gonna be fabulous. Then we'll take our seafood now. Now I already have some seafood done. The seafood I have done is right here. And you can see as you turn it over how nice the markings are. See how gorgeous this looks? As a matter of fact, let's see if my other seafood is ready here. The ones that I just placed on the grill here, there's a way to tell if they're really ready to come off. If I come over here and I go like this and I pick it up, it's ready to be turned. If it doesn't come free from the grill, then it's not ready to be turned. You see those gray markings that I have there? These ones are ready to come off, so I'm just going to take these off now. Now, the other thing is when you grill an item, you're going to grill the item till it's au point. I mean, au point. A point. Or it's spelled a point, but it's pronounced à point, and that means just done. You're not going to allow for what we call carryover cooking with seafood. The juices don't really have to redistribute that much into the protein as they do with meat. In meat, you really need to make sure that you allow for a little bit of carryover cooking. And then we have our delicious grilled pineapple to go with this too. So I'll tell you, colors for summer, for Labor Day, Memorial Day weekend, doesn't matter. Doesn't that look terrific? We're going to take a little break. And then when we come back, I have a sage basted T-bone steak that is to die for. Don't go anywhere. It's Grillin' with Dillon today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Let's Cook, where today we are definitely grilling. We are outdoors. And I'll tell you, this next item that I'm going to make for you, I can't wait to have it myself. And let me just show you the steak here because it's absolutely out of this world. And it's so simple. Look at this wonderful steak that we have here. Oh, and we have some sage here. And we're going to go ahead and baste this with the sage. See, 2-pound T-bone steak, 1 bunch of sage. So easy. Little salt and pepper. Olive oil, that's it. Now, let's take a look at the steak first. When you buy a steak, and let's talk about what a T-bone steak is too. This is a tenderloin part of this T-bone steak. This is a part that they have the filet mignon out of. Right here is the shell part of the steak, out of the sirloin here. This is where you get your New York strip, your shell strip from. Notice the flecks of fat in the meat. This is marbling. Notice the color of the meat. It's a cherry red color. Very good. The fat is nice and white, and it's a little flaky, which is how it should be. And we left a little bit of fat on here before we grill it. Now, to grill this, just going to take my steak, put it on the side over here. We're going to take some of the sage that I have right here. There's beautiful sage here. I already pulled some off the leaves. We don't need that much sage because we're going to use the sage, and I'm actually going to put a little parsley in it too. But we'll just take the sage now. And we're going to finely chop this. Not finely. We're actually going to do somewhat of a chiffonade or a shreds, but we're just going to take the sage here, go across it once like this, nice and slow. Just take your time, cutting it as thin as you possibly can, but you really don't want to bruise it either. That's why a lot of times when I'm cutting, you'll see me go in a forward motion rather than straight down. And in doing that, I make sure that I don't bruise it too much. Then with my knife here, I'll just turn it this way. I'll go across this just a couple of times, just so that it's not too big, because we need to get this to stick to the steak. So I have a little bit of sage there. I'm also, to give it balance, use a little bit of parsley, chopped parsley and the sage. So I leave my sage just like this. Next. Now, if you're on a diet, You might not like this because what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take my steak. I have a little bit of butter here. I'm going to take the butter and I'm going to brush it onto the steak. Both sides. Doesn't really need it, but I'll tell you the flavor that you'll get from this. Then, before I do anything, a little salt and pepper. Be generous with your salt. It's going to help form a crust. Then, I take this right here on top of my sage parsley mixture and I press that in. While that's sitting there, let's keep our mess all in one location. A little bit more butter on this side of the steak. Oh, we're actually using 2 oils with this steak. We're using butter, but you'll see me use a little bit of olive oil too. Salt, pepper. We take this now. See how nice that looks? See how the butter helps it stick? Come over to this side. We do the same thing, pressing that in. We dredge this with just a little olive oil as well. Now, the reason I'm using the olive oil afterwards is so that the herbs can release their flavor. See how nice this side is? Oh, you got to get excited about this. A little bit more oil there. Ah, good. Now, the other thing when you're grilling, especially if you're grilling steaks, you need to make sure that the steak is at room temperature. Don't take it right out of the refrigerator and throw it right onto the grill. The heat from the grill is going to kill any of the surfactant bacteria that can form there. You know, you're looking at 600, 700 degrees, 500 degrees. It's going to kill it. And it'll cook better. So let me just get this one on here. Then we'll talk about one that I already have on here. Also, when you first put it on, make sure your grill is nice and clean, that you've oiled it. Now, the next thing is you don't touch the steak. You just leave it alone. Let it start to cook. Now, if I come over here and I look at this one that I already have on here, I'm going to go like this and see if it comes free. You see how that's coming free? I won't turn the steak over. What I'll do with the steak is I'll take the steak and I'll pick it up that way, nice markings, and I'll turn it that way. I don't turn the steak over, but once I do that, it's also important at this point in time that I take a little bit of butter and baste it. So, I'm only turning the steak once. Now, due to the size of these steaks, a lot of times when I'm grilling, if I don't have a lid or if the grill's really hot, I won't close the lid. I'll just let the steak cook this way. Because of the thickness of these steaks, I'm going to take and I'm going to close this. This really turns it into an oven. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll just take and I'll use a pair of tongs and I'll just prop it here so that it doesn't just cook like it's in an oven. This way I have a little bit of air going in there and it doesn't cook too high all the way around. And the bottom part of the grill plate, they can really make the marks and cook the steak because we want that searing action going on. These steaks have got to cook. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to look at these steaks, and I can't wait to taste them, so don't go anywhere. It's Grillin' with Dillon today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Grillin' with Dillon. Now, let's take a look at our T-bone steak here. Now, this steak that I put on in the last segment, I only moved to market. I haven't turned it over yet. This way, and I can tell that it's ready to turn over if I take a look and I look at it and I can see where it's starting to shrink here at the bottom, and I'm actually starting to see a little bit of blood come through on the top here. Now this is ready to turn over. Oh, looks fabulous. You really want to get some nice marking on the steak. Now, this, I would cook this for about half as much time on this side, half to 2/3 as much time as on the original side, because it already started to cook even though you can't really see it happening. So you're going to cook it a little less once you turn it over. Now, this steak that I have right here, I even have this steak standing up because it's a T-bone steak. And what I did is where the fat was on the side here, I just put that and held it and rendered some of that fat out so I have a nice flavor. Then I have it sitting on the bone part right here where the bone is on the bottom. Reason being, it takes a little longer for the steak to cook by where the bone is. This way, it's going to rest. This meat here is really not being exposed to the heat. See where my hand is here? But the bottom where the bone is. So, I'm going to take this over here now. I'm going to put this onto this plate we're going to allow this to rest. So let me just put this on the side here for a second, and I'll plate up our the first item we made, which was the grilled pineapple with the seafood brochette and the saffron rice. So look, we take a nice piece of pineapple here, move this out of the way. I have my brochette right here, a little bit of the rice here. Beautiful rice. Then, to get the seafood off, make sure you move one first, then the next one, the third, and then the fourth piece. Then they'll all slide off nice together. Oh, doesn't that grilled brochette look terrific? Couldn't have done it without the Fred's Kitchen. So again, I want to thank you for allowing me to use this grill. Very nice. So let's take a look at our steak now. Only have about a minute left in show. Everybody, if you're out there and you're in the audience, go like this. Touch your cheek, because that means the steak is rare. If you go here, it's medium. If you go here, it's well done. That's the easiest way to remember. Or you can take your hand like this, rare, bring your fingers halfway together, medium, all the way together, well done. Either way, I think we need to see how this steak looks, don't you? So let me just I'm going to cut a little piece of this steak right here. Oh, looks really good. So, steak is well rested. It's not bleeding. Oh, oh. Thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. I'm having steak.